Good morning. Today is Sunday, the 50th of Chanukah, Tafshinayim Beis, 2011. And I want to discuss a few things regarding Chanukah. So actually I have several things to discuss, and some are on the lighter side and some are a little more complex. And the question that I had is, what should I say first? Should I begin with the more complex and go to the simpler? Or should I start with the simpler and go up to the complex? So actually this could be derived from the holiday of Chanukah itself. As we know, there are two customs how to light the candles. There is the school of Beis Shammai and the school of Beis Hillel. Specifically, Beis Shammai says that the first night we start by lighting 8 candles and then we go downwards. So it's 8, the next night 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And Beis Hillel says the reverse, like we do today. We start with 8 and we start with 1 rather, and we go to 2, 3, 4, etc. So that means that we hold like Beis Hillel that you start from the smaller amount to the larger amount. Therefore, I'll start with the less complex to the more complex. The first question about Chanukah is a famous question of the Beis Yosef, Rabbi Yosef Karo, who asked a very simple question. What was the nace of Chanukah? That they lit the candles in the Beis HaMikdash, and it was supposed to last only 1 day, and it ended up lasting 8 days, right? So the famous question is, so 1 day was natural. It was supposed to light 1 day. So therefore, 1 day was not a miracle. The miracle was 7 days. So why do we make Chanukah 8 days? We should have rather made it 7 days, because the miracle was only 7 days. That's a very famous question. As a matter of fact, there was a Sefer Neir Lameah that was published about 40 years ago. The entire Sefer deals just with this one question, and he proposes 100 answers, and there are more than 100 answers. I would say there are hundreds of answers to this particular question. One answer I heard, which is very interesting, is that if we had 7 days of Chanukah, so the first night, according to Beis Hillel, would be 1, Beis Shammai would be 8. The second night, if we had 7 days of Chanukah, according to Beis Shammai, would have been 7, because we started with the highest number, and Beis Hillel would have been 1. So by the time we get to the 4th night, both of them will be 4. Beis Hillel because we had 7, because Shammai is because we would have had 7, 6, 5, 4. The 4th night would be 4, and Beis Hillel because we would have 1, 2, 3, 4. So the 4th night, both will be equal, and if somebody would see in the window 4 candles, they would not know if that particular person goes according to the rules of Beis Shammai or they go according to the rules of Beis Hillel. Therefore, we made it 8, and when you have 8, there's never a meeting ground. In other words, every single night will be different. Whether Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai will be totally different every single night. There will never be a night where both of them will have the same amount of candles. One answer. Another answer is that we cannot have 7 candles, because 7 candles, 7 was what we had in the Beis HaMikdash, and we're not allowed to copy that, and I believe that this answer is from Rav Kook, Zatzal, and I think it's one of the best answers. Okay, a little more complex now. It says that if you have a yard, a chutzner, that has 2 doors. In the olden times, they used to put the menorah, Chanukah menorah, outside by the chutzner. So, a chutzner that has 2 doors, yard has 2 doors, and opposite sides, let's say north, south, or east and west, the halacha is, the Gemara says, you have to light on both sides. Why? Because if you will light only on one side, and a person will happen to pass the other side, and he would see that there is no light, he will then think that you have not lit the Chanukah candles. That's called chashada. And we're not allowed, it's in many, many places, we find that a person should not bring himself into a situation where people might think that he's not observing a particular mitzvah. So therefore he has to light on both sides, called chashada. Now, there's another Gemara in a different area, talking about a synagogue, a Beis HaKnesses. You're not allowed to pass a Beis HaShul. When the people are davening there, just to pass by, you're not allowed. Because people will say, he's not davening. He doesn't go into the shul, he's not davening. So the Gemara says, chashada, again chashada. People will say, he's not observing, he's not davening. So, it says that's only if the synagogue, the shul, has a door on this side, but not on any other side. But if there is another door on the other side, then people will not say he's not going into the shul. People will say he didn't go into this side, but he will go into the other side. Now, let's take these two laws, and these two laws are diametrically opposed to each other. Here we say that if there are two sides, people will not suspect that he's going in, that he will not say he's not doing it, because he's going into the other side. And here we say the opposite, that if a chutzner has shtei psachim from opposite sides, we must light on both sides. That question is the Beis Yosef's question. And the Beis Yosef answers two terutzim. One answer is that not davening is parek oil, throwing yourself off from the yoke of Hashem, and therefore people will not suspect if there is a possibility for people to figure out a way that he actually did daven, and if there's another door, people will say that he was on the other side. But Chanukah is not parek oil, so therefore if people will see he's not doing it, people will say he's not doing it, and therefore we're not allowed to bring ourselves into a situation of chashada, where people think that you're not doing the mitzvah. One answer. Another answer answers the Beis Yosef because there's a difference. When you have to do Chanukah candles, there is Seder de Mamayna. There's Hefsed Mammon. You have to buy candles and oil. It's expensive. We find that in the times of the Talmud, there were people who could not afford it. People are poor. So, therefore, if people are going to see that he's not lighting it, people are going to think he doesn't want to spend the money. And people will suspect that he's not lighting. We're not going to say he's lighting it on the other side. But the shul, there's no Seder de Mamayna. It doesn't cost them anything. So therefore, people will not suspect, but people will say, there's another side, he's probably going in on the other side. Actually, the Magen Avraham argues on that point. Magen Avraham says, what do you mean a shul is no Hefsed Mammon? There is Hefsed Mammon, there is loss of money. How? Because at the time when he's in the shul, he can't do business. He can't be in the shuk. So therefore, it is considered Hefsed Mammon. I saw a Sefer Sukkos David. Sefer Sukkos David says that there's still a difference. There's a difference between physically spending money and not be able to make money. So by Chanukah, it's physically spending money. So that it's harder to do. But going to shul is a matter of not taking the time to go to shul and not making money at the time. That's called minias revach. Not making money at the time, minias revach, and there's a difference. Okay, another thing. The Gemara says, we have a machlokes in the Gemara, two opinions. What happens if you light the Chanukah candles and it goes out, extinguishes it? Do you have to relight it or do you not have to relight it? Ravuna Rav Chizda. Kofsa Zokek law. If it goes out, do you have to light it again? Or Ein Zokek law. Or you do not have to light it again. Okay. So one Mandomer, so the Beis Halevi asks a question. Now we see that a chotzer, that it has two sides, from two opposite sides, you must light on both, because otherwise people will think, if they see it's not lit on one side, they will think that you're not lighting it, they haven't lit it. So why is it, although the poor person that holds that kofsa in Zokek law, that if you extinguish, it gets extinguished, you don't have to light it again, why should you not have to light it again? When people will pass and see that there is no Chanukah light, they will think that a person has not lit. And then it goes on to say, don't think that it's possible that people will see it was lit before, there was remainders, etc. He says that's not mistaber to say. So the question is very strong. If we say that because of chashada, he has to light the candles again, he has to light another set of candles on the other side. So why not say that kofsa zokikla, that if the light goes out, he has to light it again for that reason. And he answers as follows. It is clear to him, he says, that even if I hold kofsa in zokikla, he still has to light it because of chashad. He does have to light. The only difference between the two opinions, whether kofsa zokikla or kofsa ein zokikla, is merely if the question is it zokikla that he has to light again mitzad haTorah, according to the halacha, that the halacha is that the candlelight has to burn the entire time, and if it doesn't burn, he has to light it again mitzad hadin, or he has to light it. Of course, he has to light it again because of chashad. That is according to both that he would have to light it again. The only question is, does he have to light it mitzad hadin? Is that the din of Chanukah, that it has to be lit the entire time, and if it's not lit, if it's extinguishes, he must light it again? Or ein zokikla that mitzad hadin he doesn't have to do it, but chashad he does have to do it. Anyhow, these are mere tidbits for the holiday of Chanukah. I want to wish everyone a happy and healthy Chanukah, and we should live for many, many, many years and share in good things. Good night.